I don't know, I was just walking down the street and they said this event is going on in here. I said, oh, look at all the people. First of all, I'd like to just say, Kamika, I love you. You're a brilliant young lady. I'm so proud of you. I love this event. There is so much energy in this room. And everything the women were saying was just what I needed to hear. Have you ever been in a place like that? And everyone I'm meeting, you're supposed to meet. So I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for letting me share my story with so many wonderful, powerful people. I must say that I get more out of this event than I give. Believe me, it really fills my heart to be here.
Thank you so much, girl. Wow.
So, you want to know my story? Yes. Buy the book, next no.
She's a brain job.
Okay, I'm going to give you a short version, because we have very little time. I never wanted to be a model. I wanted to be a lawyer. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. My father was a steel laborer and my mother was a nurse. I thought we were middle class, but we were lower middle class, and we lived in a white neighborhood. And my father got a GI Bill because he was in the Army, so that's how we got over there. My mother orchestrated the whole thing. She got him away from all his buddies back in Asbury Park and brought him to Buffalo, New York. They knew no one. Anyway, so I had this very kind of extraordinary upbringing in the sense that I began to swim competitively. So I have a very competitive nature about me. And swimming is really interesting because it's something that you have to do all the time and a lot. So I practice every day in the morning before school and after school. And basically I was a nerd. I was tall, skinny, flat-chested. Not anymore, and so I got bullied.
They should have done, y'all. Y'all know her.
So I got bullied and everything. I love school. I love to read, and I mean, it's all true. So when I went to college, because I wanted to be this lawyer, but before I went to college, my mother said I cannot work at Beaver Island, as a lifeguard. Did you need clothes for college? And this, and so she got me this job at the Jenny Shop. It's this shop on Main Street in Buffalo, New York. I was so disappointed, right? So anyway, so I was a sales clerk. Of course, I was the #1 sales clerk. And of course, my friends were coming in to see me and asking, hey, could you put something in the bag here? How much, we had your friends out. I had to put things in the bag for them and everything. I was selling so much stuff that people, the manager overlooked it. So there was this one woman, of course, I was the only black person in the store. There was this one woman meeting, and she's this French woman. She kept saying, if you ever think of this idea about coming this way, you should become a model. I was like, a model? What is this woman crazy? I'm going to college. They all trying to keep your sister down. I said, yes. So she kept saying, so before I left, she wrote on this piece of paper, if you ever give it this idea about coming to the boy, please call this woman. And I took the piece of paper, oh, thank you so much for putting it in my wallet, because she knows I'm keeping the number. Thank you, that's so kind of you. And I'm thinking, this woman's crazy out of her mind. So anyway, I went to college and everything. I worked at the Roxbury YWCA for $28 a week, teaching swimming, because that's what I do. And I was going to stay in Boston. You got tough, you got hard. I was having a ball. And that summer, I lost the job. You should be a model. I said, what's a model? She said, they gave me this magazine, and there was a girl standing there, a white girl standing there with her hands on her hip. She said, they make $75 an hour. I said, what? They're standing there with their hands on their hip? I kept that piece of paper. I'm just saying, so it's like fate. One day you're a student, and the next day you're a model. And you never know what's going to happen. Right? You really don't. And so I tell that story to say that I've always tried to keep an open mind about life, about people, about, hearing something from a fool like sufficient for the wise. And I've lived my life that way, and I've had an extraordinary life. Thank you.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. And it's so funny that, we've had this conversation in Chicago, and I keep learning new things. I'm like, I don't know about the story of Buffalo. Very good, Beverly. So, you were the first African American model to grace the cover of Vogue magazine, and I'm sure that came with a lot because, of course, being the first anything for people of color comes with a lot. Tell us, what was your biggest challenge with that, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah. So what happened was, when I got the number, of course, no one gets anywhere by themselves.
Right.
It's impossible. Somebody's always helping you. And so this woman's number in New York was a woman by the name of Courtney Pleasant, who was a black woman, who was the head of this beautiful, Fifth Avenue boutique. And my mother went with me against my father's wishes, and because he didn't believe in modeling, he thought prostitution, or you're going to New York, corrupt. So anyway, so she went against this wish. We went to New York, and she was the one who called Glamour magazine. So my career took off very quickly, in a sense, that I started working for Glamour magazine. And then when the cover came along, I didn't really realize that I was the first person of color on the cover. It's every model's dream, every actress's dream, everybody's dream now, to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. So when I got, I was like, I was just elated. It was just, I can't tell you how excited I was. I used to wake up in the middle of the night, turn the light on, and look at the cover and say, yep, that's me. It was like a mind-blowing thing. So then the interviews started coming in from Africa and from all around the world. How does it feel to be the first person of color on the cover? I said, what do you mean first person of color? Because, people don't really tell you things. They don't say, you know black people on the cover of the book. I didn't really know. So it kind of like let the wind out of my sails because I'm going, whoa, this shit is serious. I thought it was going to be a party and get the guy, get every kid.
I wasn't expecting that.
And now this is heavy. It's like heavy duty stuff. I'm like, okay, Africa, where did I come from? I don't know. So what happened was it sent me on a journey of self-discovery. First of all, I was pissed that it hadn't been a woman of color on the cover. This is 1974. We already went through civil rights. What's going on in New York here in the fashion industry? So it was like a real wake-up call for me. And that's what I did. I realized that this was a huge responsibility and this was deep. Because people were coming to me and saying, thank you so much for letting us and acknowledging us that we are beautiful and we do belong here. And so with that, it took me on a totally different path. So I wanted to make sure that I was responsible, that I was knowledgeable about who I was, where I am, where I came from, our 400-year history in America. I had it all down for them. So when they started to interview me, I knew what to say. And then I also brought in a whole group of black makeup artists and black hairdressers and things, because once you get a little power, then you can reach back. Yeah. You can grab people and bring them along.
Yeah.
So basically, that cover was a life-defining moment for me. And it is more important today than it was then. Because in the 1970s, we had more black makeup artists and designers and hairdressers than we do today. And so